Good evening and welcome to the March 24th, 2026 meeting of the East Long Meadow Town Council. I'll come to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Watch out when you're and wear chairs.
Well, pretend.
Okay. Did you get it? I'll just get it. When we get it, I'll get it.
Oh, is it out there?
Maybe. It's always there. So we for a loop.
In the meantime, we have new floors.
Yes.
So pretty.
This is easily the favorite part of my day right here.
The presenting of the colors.
Yep. Color guard.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a new one.
New floors.
We take a brief moment of silence to reflect on all of the events going on, both near and abroad. Thank you. In accordance with Mass General Law, this meeting is being recorded by LCAT, and if there's anyone else in the audience recording, if you could identify yourself. Thank you, Cindy. No one else on Zoom or in the audience? Public comments. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to make a comment this evening? Audience, and no one on Zoom? Council comments. Are there any councilors with a comment this evening?
Just one, Connor.
Sure.
I received correspondence this week. Back when I was the president, I received an email that asked about adding a sidewalk on Chestnut Street. I believe the DPW had put it onto the map. I just received correspondence that said our newest and updated map hasn't been put onto the town's website. So I just asked that we take a look, and if we have an updated one, if we could upload that, that'd be great.
Great. Thank you, Ralph. Comments? Okay. Seeing none, town managers report. Hi, Tom.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, all. Attached is the project reports for March 2nd and March 9th for the construction of the high school and auditorium. There's another virtual walkthrough produced by LCAT Director Jamie Rook. She'll have that posted up there on the website on the YouTube channel this week. Several town councilors joined members of the school department on a guided tour of the new facility. The video is, like I said, going to be up soon. Really, really outstanding video. Gives a great feel for the new space. There are other photos out there on the internet, but I don't have them all here. Just a reminder, all the scheduling and progress information for the project is on the website, eastlongmeadowma.gov/ELHS building project. Following the recommendations from the Municipal Digital Equity Plan, the town of East Long Meadow is offering digital literacy training series at the Public Library, PVSC, and the Housing Authority this spring. There are 3 levels of instruction offered at these locations, and the participants qualify for a free laptop. The series begins on March 31st. The program was announced last Monday, the 16th, and all the spaces were full by close of business on Saturday. So
Wow.
Clearly meeting a need identified for the community. This programming is made possible through the grant funding from Massachusetts Broadband Institute in a partnership with Cyber Seniors. Mr. Quimby and I will be meeting with Whip City Fiber on Thursday, finally, to discuss the next steps in our fiber to the home project. Estimates have been completed for make ready from all the utilities and as well as the construction, and we expect to have all that information put together so we can have a proposed implementation plan in front of council in the near future, hopefully whenever the next time I can get on the agenda is. We'll find out more on Thursday, but that's exciting that we're sort of moving forward after kind of a long wait for some information that we expected 6 months ago. Again, one more thanks to everyone for their collaboration and thoughtfulness on what's becoming a very streamlined and effective budget process. So I look forward to further conversation for the next 6 weeks or so. But yeah, thanks to everybody. It's obviously, the process is getting easier, but finding money to put everywhere is becoming the real challenge now. So that's all I got for tonight.
Tom? Any questions for Tom? Yes, Ralph?
So it's both for Tom and for you. Before we go in depth into an implementation plan, is there any way we can get the numbers and see what the cost of this is?
Yep.
To see if the council even wants to go further?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I am certain that it's more than probably the first 2 or 3 estimates, that rough estimates.
I will say that you're correct. And the way that the information is provided, it would be based on that take rate formula. And this is what I'm assuming that we're going to get on Thursday, the take rate formula, as well as phasing of this out to see when. So there's more information than just the total cost, right? Because at some point you're collecting revenue. And so that cost is offset by money coming in. So
We're assuming, and again, it's a huge assumption whether you have a 20% take rate, 30%, 40%.
Correct.
Or 50% down the road.
and last time we had them run all those scenarios, and that is just taking that 20% or 30% or 40% and sort of projecting it out, because there is obviously some sort of risk on, yes, everybody says they want fiber, but when it comes to actually getting it, is it going to happen, or switching, is it going to happen in the way that we think it is? Which is, you're right, a real question. So, yes, however you want the information, you can have it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perfect. Any other questions? Seeing none, communications, correspondence, and announcements. I had 5 things.
Oh,
I know, we go from none to 5. The first was also just to echo Tom's sentiment. The walkthrough that we did at the new high school project was really nice to see the progress. Thank you to the school committee for hosting us there, and it was wonderful to see it coming along. It definitely puts the dollars into perspective. The second was that we had a vacancy on our council's general bylaw review committee, and so John D'Angelo has been appointed to fill that vacancy. Then the financial oversight committee has a full complement now, so remaining is Jim Broderick, Rich Ricciero, Anna Jones, and Kathy Hill. And then we did have a vacancy, so Russ Denver will return to the committee. So I expect that once we can find a time that works for everyone's schedule, we'll start those meetings in the next week or 2. Then the next one was, there's a grand reopening ceremony at the Reserve at East Long Meadow right off of Parker Street tomorrow. So I'll be attending that.
oh, great.
And then from a licensing perspective, I had also sent a letter to A's Smoke Shop yesterday, because they still have signage out front of their business advertising the availability of alcohol, for which they're no longer licensed to do so. Those are the only communications I have, unless anyone has anything else.
Did you give them a timeline
I said within 7 days, yeah.
of their receipt?
Of their receipt of it.
Okay,
Just
keep an eye on that.
I know that the council revoked their alcohol license, but I also know that they don't have a tobacco sales license.
Right.
So is that also gonna be part of it when we move ahead? Because,
I think it could be.
I
I
mean, they've
did,
been advertising tobacco products even before they, right when they lost their license, and ever since, and
right.
It just doesn't seem to make sense to me, but
No, I agree. I did send the letter to Tammy, our health director, as well, so she's aware of the same signage. So I'm sure we can coordinate and
awesome.
be on the same front.
And then Connor, just one other thing, when appropriations, when the meetings are set up, if you could email the rest of the council just to let us know the scheduling, that would be great.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we'll have them both posted again, so everyone can attend.
Join.
Great. We have no public hearings this evening, so orders of the day, licensing matters. We have 2 one-day entertainment licenses. Is there a motion for the first?
I make a motion to approve a one-day entertainment license for Carl Perella at Tao's Asian Cuisine, 31 Harkness Ave, on April 14th, 2026, from 6 PM to 9 PM for a birthday party.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And we also have another entertainment license.
I make a motion to approve a one-day entertainment license for Greg Moran, EM Details, Inc., at 174 Shaker Road on April 25th, 2026, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. for EM Details Grand Opening Car Show.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Any further discussion?
He is here, Greg, if he wants to come forwards and just say to the audience and all what's going on.
Sure. Oh. If you want to, you don't have to. If you just want to come forward to the microphone.
I figure it's a good chance to plug it.
And a plug. So my son is Greg Moran, sorry. I live out by Porter Woods, East Sacramento. So yeah, my son is starting a business in town. He's doing a lot of high-end paint protection film for cars, vinyl wrapping, race cars, color changes, all that kind of stuff. So it's a very, kind of niche business. And so any word of mouth is great, but he's having a grand opening show with cars being by invitation only, cars that he's done in the past. So spread the word, be great.
Great. Thank you.
Good luck with it.
Good luck with it.
Motion was made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Good luck on the grand opening. Okay, next, under financial matters, we have accepting a $250,000 Green Communities competitive grant for library projects. Is there a motion?
Want them one at a time, or do you?
I think you
want-
can read the whole thing.
I make a motion to accept the Green Communities Grant in the amount of $250,000 for the following. $159,698 for the library, which is the hybrid heat pump. $4,700 to the library for weather stripping. $85,602 to the library for a building management system.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
What is a building management system? Is it the software?
Yeah, like the
Control the heat pump?
automation for the whole
Okay.
place.
That's what I assumed, but
Yeah, or like in this building when there's the setback when the temperature changes when we're not here, that kind of stuff too.
isn't that just Ryan doing it?
Well, that's how he does it.
Only on special request.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Great, thank you. Good job.
Okay, next, we have accepting a $25,000 land conservation assistance grant through the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to update the town's open space and recreation plan.
I make a motion to accept a $25,000 land conservation assistance grant through the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to update the town's open space and recreation plan per Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
How often does this have to be updated? Is it every 5 years still?
7.
7 years?
Now it's 10.
Now it's 10? So we're on the 7. Ours expired what, in 26? It expires in October?
Expires this October.
So then the new one.
The new one will be 10.
So in 10 years, I'll ask the same question.
And hold them to that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then next we have approving a transfer for $3,764.53 for animal control officer training.
I make a motion to approve a transfer of funds for the Health Department in the amount of $3,764.53 from the Health Department Other Purchase Service, account 015192-5382, to the part-time salary account 015191-5111, to cover hours paid to the animal control officer for training.
Second.
Was made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have approving the March 10th open session minutes.
I'll take it. I make a motion to approve the March 10th, 2026 open session minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Get rid of that one.
Yes, that one was
Okay.
moved.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Next, under old business, we have our same 250th anniversary. I don't know if there's any updates from,
Slightly, and mostly just to keep saying dates out loud. I've been meeting with a couple different groups on the 250th and the time capsule, just to kind of try to make sure everything's coordinated. The kickoff for the time capsule is going to be on May 30th, from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. We'll have actual invitations go out at some point. But we're also going to do a Summerfest at Brown Farm, June 6th, which is the next Saturday, in which we'll get the time capsule up there to, we got to fill the thing. So we'll have some events too, with instructions on things to bring and things not to bring, probably. I think we decided the things not to bring is going to be a longer list. And then the 4th of July celebration timeline has sort of increased a little bit this year due to the dates and the fact that the carnival is not coming in till the 30th. We were going to try to do some other community events from, I think it's Friday the 26th. I'd have to look at the calendar real quick, but we're going to try to do a movie night, pending discussion with Chief Beecher, perhaps a bonfire. And then some other events, maybe a cornhole tournament or something on that line, but more of a concentration of activity in the center. There was talk of maybe a food truck day or something like that. So we're trying to figure out how to have a big, huge celebration while the field does not have a carnival on it, which will give us a few days to sort of expand the days that we're all together on the green. That's really about it for now. I think I'll probably have maybe some numbers for you next. I think the way that things line up from a financial standpoint, it's easiest for us to take over some of the public safety aspect of all the events. It's just an easy thing for us to deal with and pay for and coordinate. But nothing past that as of yet. So take a couple weeks off in the end of June and July and party downtown in East Long Meadow.
great. Any
Just a
questions?
quick question.
Sure.
You said May, or the 30th, the carnival's gonna be coming
June
in?
30th.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I say May?
No, I was just saying, June 30th.
That was the other one.
Well, I guess my question is, usually they set up like 2 days in advance and then
Yeah.
open.
Yep,
I'm assuming you mean they're opening on the 30th.
yep.
So they're probably starting to set up like the
The weekend.
27th.
Yeah, so there was like a day in there where the events would have to be small, like if they start at Napa and work their way, because they're somewhere till the 28th, so they're not gonna be able to even start setting up.
Okay,
Then they have to do the inspection and then they can open up. So we're gonna try to utilize the space
Time in between.
when they're not there, so that's the plan.
great, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Then from a shirt perspective, I hope to have a sample mock-up of what it would look like for our next meeting.
Good.
Started working on it, but didn't have it ready in time for tonight. Okay, next was the update on the transfer station waste oil tank replacement.
Yep.
I think there was one outstanding.
One question. So we're estimating about $3,000 to empty that tank. And again, without really any idea of how much it's gonna get used, I don't know how many times that would happen during a year, but I still think it's not out of the question to think that we can handle that just in the normal operating budget.
Great, that makes sense to me. Any other questions? If not, then might be a nice idea for a motion for that, just to codify.
So I will take that one. I move to direct the town manager to take the actions necessary to resume the service of accepting waste oil at the transfer station.
I'll second it for you, Ralph.
Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I've been so directed.
Okay, next, under new business, we have the FY '27 budget presentation.
Yeah,
Didn't
I know.
we just finish a budget?
Did I ever stop talking about it?
Insane.
So obviously I sent you guys a draft. There's some things that will be added prior to April 1st. The capital plan, I didn't think was gonna have enough time to get in there. Obviously, Kim got it in. The last meeting of the Capital Advisory Committee was Wednesday, last week. Thank you again to everybody on that committee. You know how big of a capital plan we have. There's a lot to go through there and a big time commitment. So I will say I haven't had time. Kim got it all in there. And again, we've budgeted a number based on the percentage of the budget, which when you see the recap, it came down a little bit because the amount for the projects was only 1.9, and I think we had just over 2 in there on the budget. So I still want to kind of go through it. I probably will have some questions for Mr. Quimby, just to have hear some of the conversation that went on and make sure all the reasoning is sort of in line with everything we're trying to do here. So that will be potentially updated, probably not the dollar amount, but and then obviously there's no cover sheet. My budget message, sort of in narrative form, and the flow charts for all the departments in town, and a main one. So there's some things to add, and obviously, like we say every March, this is going to change a bunch between now and then even after July 1st. So I'm not sure how you want to go through it all right now. If you want me to just start at the first page there on the recap and just kind of walk it down. I did give it to Jamie. If you think that putting it up on the screen, whatever you want to do, we're sort of ready for all of that.
Yeah, maybe just,
Or at least so people. Reimbursement rate is what it is. The numbers are given to us. That's the maximum amount we're allowed to charge. Since the ambulance fund was created in 2019-ish, we've billed $33 million
And what's,
and the ambulance rate. So we continue to work this problem both operationally and from the accounting side. This year, it looks like we're getting to the point where we're going to catch good, but as of right now, it's 400,000. So every day, every week that goes by, we'll get this number down, and that will sort of replenish the excess levy, hopefully pretty close to back where it was in FY26. Stabilization, we elected not to fund this year because we're at our target and we're making more in interest than we would when we appropriate. OPEB we left in based on our conversation from last time, and compensated absences we left in. Capital stabilization, we've never funded other than the original fund amount. And our fear with the budget being so tight is that as soon as we start to add money into the general fund appropriation, we won't be able to take it out without sort of creating that hole. And that account made something like $125,000 in interest last year. So in all likelihood, we wouldn't have a number over 100. So it's sort of done what it's supposed to do from an appropriation year-to-year standpoint. I guess it's way down in the back pages, which it doesn't sound like we're going to get all the way to, but we did have one of the bigger things, and I know it's outside the general fund budget, but it's still going to impact the community and its residents, is the water rate and the sewer rate. We had something like a 20% increase in our usage rate from Springfield Water and Sewer on the water side. All these projects that they are going through, obviously, we've talked about this is sort of pass-through costs to the customers, and we have to pick up our portion of the tab. So right now in the draft budget, we're looking at a 50-cent increase in the water rate, which is unfortunately a sign of things to come. Springfield Water and Sewer has a number of projects on the way, in the millions of dollars that we can get into sort of more of the details of that. But again, we've started this conversation, and I think I mentioned it to you, but we've had at least Bruce had a meeting. Me and Kim were in the last one to restructure our water rates. To sort of bring them up with the times and in a sort of a tiered system. Not that necessarily helps the rate without knowing exactly how we're going to roll it out, but there's a possibility where that single family residential rate will be lower than sort of our larger users. What that's going to look like, I don't even want to say right now, but we're trying to figure out ways to sort of stop these large increases from hitting our smaller users, because they're the ones that are impacted the most. So the sewer rate wasn't as big of an impact. I think that was 22 cents or 20-cent increase. Stormwater rate stayed the same, and most everything else was sort of on par with our thoughts. So again, playing all this out, we're the excess levy went from 1.932 million to 1.588. And again, every time we do something, every time we move, when Chapter 70 changes, when the student dollar per student thing inevitably gets changed one way or the other, the budget process for the state is still ongoing. So these numbers are all going to fluctuate as we go. So I don't know what else we want to look at. How about page 7? Yep. Oh, look at you. You were just on it. So this is the taxes and excess levy sheet that I kind of just went through, but we have our sort of narrative here is that the town of East Long Meadow funds more than 70% of its general fund budget from taxes, the remaining sources coming from state aid and local receipts. Historically, the town has not taxed up to its levy capacity. In FY26, the town exceeded excess levy projections due to a thorough review of departmental budgets, higher than anticipated growth, and some recognized prior year growth, which Diane talked about. Due to rising costs of retirement, health insurance, special ed, and the constraints of Proposition 2.5, the fiscal year 2027 budget proposes again to tax below the full amount allowable under Proposition 2.5, but to rely on approximately $400,000 in excess levy to aid in funding these rising costs. Estimated excess levy for FY27 is approximately $1.5 million. So that would give us an estimated tax rate of $19.22, which includes the $1.74 in excluded debt for the high school and the natatorium. We've borrowed approximately 83% of the debt related to those projects. So the bar graph on the next page sort of shows how our tax rate has trended almost all the way down since 2021, with the exception of last year and this year when the excluded debt bumped it back up. That's a function of a few things, obviously prudent spending and being, again, good custodians of the town's funds. The department's not asking for more than they need to do what they need to do for the community. But also, again, I as much as we want to take credit for the total decline in the tax rate, it's also proportional to the valuations. And so as the valuations go up, the tax rate does come down sort of in proportion. I don't know if there's anything specific anybody wanted to get to or touch on, but I mean, we're starting to get into the good-looking graphs. The page 10 has a listing of our local receipts, what we're projecting. Almost $5.4 million in receipts from excise tax, meals tax, rental fees, building permits, investment income, which has really been amazing for us. The benefits of borrowing that amount of money and investing it properly. Our investment income projections are somewhere around $400,000 a year. FY24 was over $1 million. Last year, obviously, was almost 3.4 million. And this year so far in FY26, we're over 1.5 million. Again, just sort of that prudent investing thing that we talked about all those years ago, and how good our treasurer is and our finance team is to put that money to use for us in the right way. Obviously, that just gets put right back into the community in all the best ways possible. So we have our graph of uses by function here. Education, 47% is by far sort of the largest piece of pie, but insurance, 22%. That's a big part of the budget. Public safety, 7%. Debt service, 8%. Public works, 8%. So a lot of good information here. We'll get everything up on the website when it's available in final form. I guess this is your motion sheet, sort of showing all the departments in their use category, how much they went up. The next 3 pages after these are why they went up. All the notes are in the column to let you know what caused the increase or decrease in this department. Obviously we're, a full budget increase of 2.3%. I want to say it's unfortunate, but it's just good planning and good budgeting. And, obviously we wish that there were more funds from more places. that could sort of allow us to do more, but we can do what we've been doing, and not sort of break the bank doing it. You've talked about this before. There are a lot of communities, and will continue to be a lot of communities that talk about, nobody has excess levy. Nobody has that. There are a lot of communities out there asking for mega $1 million debt overrides or just overrides, just to fund the general fund budget. And all these things that we know we can do that we don't want to do, using our reserves to fund the budget, and creating that hole for the next year. It's just, I said it last time, and I think we got to be thankful for what we got, not what we don't have. I don't know if there's any specific questions that anybody wants to talk about. Obviously, again, the capital plan's in here, and then we start getting into our debt service schedules. I will thank you again. I'll say it again and again and again. Thank you very much. There is no short-term debt in this budget or any budget to come that foreseen, because we have the funds to do that ourselves, and we don't have to pay unnecessary interest for short-term borrowing. So again, whatever questions you want to ask, I'm available to answer. And again, we'll have this full package, nice and neat, on before April 1st, for sure.
Great. I'll start. Thank
All
you.
right.
The first was just to say thank you to you and him, and of course the whole team that puts all the information together. It's such a smooth process, at least with the format of how everything's presented and put together in the packet at this point, that the fact that it's now being delivered sooner than ever before is helpful for all of us to be able to digest it and see what the changes are. So
Thank you, and again, thank you all. We had a conversation about this, and the April 1 number is functional, but from a town council meeting standpoint. I think we'll do it this way every year, and this year on the second meeting in March, we'll have this full budget. We kind of thought about it too late, and there were some vacations, and so rather than push it, we thought we could do it this way. But next year we'll have the full budget, with the fancy cover sheet, and everything set to go by the second meeting in March. And then that way, obviously we hit the April 1st deadline, but we don't have to do anything after that. So that'll just be part of the planning process as we get this more streamlined. It's easier for us to get it done sooner.
thank you. The one question that I had, and we don't even necessarily have to answer it if you're not sure, because it's related to the capital projects.
Okay.
But it just came to mind because we had just done the Green Communities grant.
Yep.
Part of that was for the building management system,
Yep.
but there was still $26,613 for raise and appropriate for a building control system for the library as a
Right.
capital project.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that is still necessary to complete it as the
Yep.
full unit, or if that
So
will be there.
since we literally, I think they got the grant in one of the capital meetings, right? We have to figure out how those all go together. So Ryan, in the capital plan last year, had a building automation project for the whole town. And so there's more involved in the library piece, but obviously we're going to use all the grant funds for the library, and then whatever's left in the general fund, I think this 26 was like a leftover and will probably end up coming out. And then whatever comes off Ryan's project too, will just get put back in the general fund as sort of unspent, right? It was the 26, like the leftover from the grant number, or am I saying that right?
So, just to, let me come up.
Yeah.
Just gonna be really clear about the different pots of money. The whole project costs over $400,000. So we got 250 from the Green Communities. We're getting rebate incentives from National Grid and Eversource. That's another $151,000. And then the remaining $26,000 is what we need to make up the entire project. But given what Ryan purchased last year, we have some components in hand already. So the proposal for the building control systems will need to be adjusted down. We probably don't need to use the entire $26,000, but we still need the majority of it. The difference between sort of like the silver that we bought and the gold that was proposed isn't, much.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so we just have to coordinate that. Like I said, Ryan had sort of started the project in last year's capital plan. That was the one that I told him that it got chopped off the bottom of the plan. And then Olga sent the capital sheet around and said, hey, can we delete this one? And Ryan said, oh, that didn't get approved. Tom made a mistake. So it was approved, so he started that, and then we got the grant, and now, so we'll make sure that all the money lines up. But in all likelihood, some of Ryan's project will be offset by the grant money because that included the library. So.
The other way around. So part of Ryan's project is offsetting the grant
The
project.
grant, right. Thank you.
So can I just?
Sure.
So when we have a project like this, is there any way to see the full cost and then show us? This has been done in capital before, where a capital project will come up and it'll be 400,000. And then it'll be, oh, well, we included 100,000 over here for this, and we included $50,000 grant. And sometimes it's difficult knowing what the entire cost is of a project.
Okay.
And if there's a way that we can figure out, especially when you're coming asking for, whether it be free cash or anything, it would be nice to know what the entire project costs and
Yeah.
what was left at the end.
And so this is the incompleteness of this plan, because the grant money, remember, we still show that now.
Right.
So that we're showing on the capital plan, we're getting all these projects done, they're just not in the budget, right? We don't need an appropriation, but we did it, right? That's what we're trying to do. So again, this is not a finished product. So
Yeah.
when we show that, it will say that there's a $186,000 grant or whatever the RTUs will be on this plan, and it'll just say funded by the grant.
Right.
Right, so that's why this is basically just the list that was approved by so that we have to square that all away. So it'll have the whole project cost
Yep.
and what the funding was, so that's fair. We can do that. We will do that.
I didn't want to.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You had started, so
Those are
Thank
the
you.
only ones that I've seen so far.
that's it.
Yeah. I know we'll have more when we get into the details, but that one was just top of mind since we talked about it tonight.
Meetings ahead of us.
Any other, Ralph?
So I have I have a couple questions. One's on the Stormwater Enterprise Fund. You have a project in here, you only have one project, it's for Spade Arden and Brook Street.
Yep.
But it says, replacement of 8-inch PVC sewer main, along with associated water main upgrades. And I'm wondering if you're replacing a sewer main and water mains, why it's coming out of our stormwater fund and not out of the sewer and the water funds. Nothing you have to answer right now, it's just something, I know this isn't.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't dug all the way in. I will tell you, because I know about that culvert, that we do have to replace sewer and water in this project. Because the damage to the culvert is now damaging the sewer main. So why it's all in stormwater, I don't know, other than to say, we've been desperately trying to get a grant to do this project. And it's in all likelihood not gonna get bonded out of the stormwater fund. That can't afford $1 million bond.
That was my question.
Okay.
Building department, 2 years ago, I think it was, when we did the fee schedule,
Yep.
building commissioner had come to us and asked us to adjust the way we charge fees and all. And he was hoping at the time that by adjusting the fees, that the fees would cover the operation or the running of the building department. And I'm just curious how close we're getting to that. I haven't really dug in a lot, and sometimes it's tough when.
Yep.
I mean, we had 1 year where the building permits were way up and
Yeah.
probably, one solar field that went in that covered half of the budget. And you can't predict that every
Right.
year, so.
So that's one of those other revenues that we don't necessarily like to touch, because when we see that spike, we know that it's a project that, right, and then we can't, but, I'm just trying to,
I'm,
Yep.
like I said, just curious going
Nope.
forward, if our thought process was working or not.
yes, so I think building permits and licenses, if sort of you look at our actuals from prior years for building,
185 maybe.
building permits, actual 2025 was 421, so that's one of those spikes.
Right.
So far this year is 168, but some of that licenses and permits, the next line down is also building.
Okay,
So we're closer to 370, and that's only part of the year. So we're getting close to 400,000, which is, I don't have the exact number of the building department's budget, but I'm guessing that
probably close.
probably close.
What's the number that we're looking at? What was the total that you thought, Tom?
Around 400.
So just looking at the town report, permit fees were at 381,000 roughly, and the,
That might be calendar, though.
right,
The annual report's gonna be,
Yeah, like I said, that was the process when we did the fee schedule over, and that was the hopes.
Yep. So building department's budget is, total is 269. So, yeah.
Worked.
So, yes, a long way to get there, but yes.
Another question is on the high school, I know 83% of the debt exclusion is.
Yep.
We have a general idea of when another 17% drops, is it another year?
August.
That's when we have to bond for the other.
Yep.
So is that actually gonna hit? That'll be hitting next year's.
Yeah, and again, the timeline of all this stuff is always hard to figure out, and whether or not it will be in August or not. Which is hard for us to, because we want to try to make sure we are only doing this, if we got to do anything else, that we do it at the same time. Right now, we're projecting at August, and again, Hilltop, that's sort of subject to change. If they call us and say, hey, your cash flow is no good, we're gonna have to do this at the end of June. We got to do it at the end of June. So we're sort of wait to see what they say. And again, Scance has been amazing, working with Don in the treasurer's office to make sure that that cash is always in the right spot.
Yep.
So right now, we're set for August.
Okay. The last thing I just wanted to comment on was this past year, the number of grants and all that we were able to receive that came in. It really, really helps getting projects done, and not throwing our tax rate way off or anything. And that's fantastic. And I just want to say great job with that. To everyone.
Yeah, well, it
Definitely noticed and appreciated.
is noticed and appreciated. There's a lot of, the fun thing for me to watch is the collaboration between the departments. And so much goes into it, and obviously Rebecca has a hand in everybody's grants and giving them a hand, but there's a lot of money that's coming in that the department heads are excited about too, and they keep going after grants too. So it's really just kind of like a snowball effect, and I appreciate that you noticed. I noticed
Definitely
too.
allows us to do
Yeah.
more like the open
Yep.
space and rec plan. When I was involved in that, I want to say we spent a year and a half
Yep.
trying to get it done. We got just about to the finish line, and then, oh, well, all of this stuff has changed over the last year and a half, started over again.
Yeah.
At least with the grant, it'll be able to be condensed down, done, and having that allows us to apply for other grants, park grants and stuff, so
Yep.
it's a snowball effect.
Yep.
Oh, it definitely helps, and even when we have to contribute on
Yeah, right.
spending this much to get a value that's that big.
Yep.
Fire truck was a great example.
Oh.
I mean,
We were the envy of the whole Commonwealth when that happened.
Any other comments or thoughts? Okay, to be continued at the next meeting. Thank you, Tom.
all the way to June. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have a discussion on proposed draft Town Center Mixed Use District, TCMU, zoning bylaw amendment. This was something that Jim had drafted, and so it's on the agenda for us to discuss and see what the council's thoughts are. I didn't list it as a first reading, so that we discuss the topic overall, how we want it to proceed. If we like the idea and want to see it move forward, we could do a first reading at a future meeting, and then it would go to the planning board from there to their recommendation and really start the official part of the process.
Yeah, so I guess my intent here is not really to have so much of a draft bylaw, excuse me, but to really have more of a framework. And maybe even tonight just to send it to the planning board and let them deal with it with the planning department. I'm certainly not a town planner and don't want to pretend to be one. Let them, at least give them something what I really try to do is kind of distill, I think, what I've heard from my colleagues here about what we'd like to generally see in a bylaw, and use that as a kind of a template to send to the planning board, allow them to look at it, hash it out, and then maybe if there's something that we generally feel is something that we agree with, want to see, send it to the planning board, allow them to weigh in on it, draft a draft bylaw, send it back to us, and then we can send it to the Planning Matters Subcommittee. So with that, if anybody has any questions, comments, or general observations, floor is anybody's.
Does anyone have any?
I wanted to let other people speak.
Sure.
Excuse me. I would say that for me, this, having read this and looking at the visual from the presentation from our last meeting, where you actually can see where the Center Square District would land, this was the first time it crystallized for me. Like, our goal really is to improve the sustainability of a Center Square, re-image or redesign some of the properties so that the benefits are tangible for our residents. A focus on the walkability, and down the road, if it were to tie in with the concepts for the Rotary redesign, it just made sense to me. So I appreciate the work you did, because now it's more concrete in my eyes anyway.
I do want to say, I know she's not here tonight, I know she's feeling ill, but Councilor Richards played a large hand in helping me craft that, and she was very, very excited, and I wish she was here to share in that enthusiasm. I know she's watching, and I know she's feeling better, but she was very, very enthusiastic and very, very, very helpful in letting her experience.
Ralph?
So my thought on this is, the council so often gets bylaws in, and we just say, no, we don't like this, no, we don't like this. I think Jim took it upon himself to say, hey, from what I hear, this is stuff that the council can get behind. Instead of being more negative, let's go to the positive side and things that we're looking for, things that we like. And this way here, the planning board can take this direction and say, okay, I know these are good things. We can create a bylaw around this that fits in our zoning bylaws and all. Like I said, sorry, Jim, it's by no means perfect. But again, I wasn't expecting a perfect bylaw. I was expecting to see things that again, we can get behind and that we like. We like the thought of this and the thought of this. So more positive aspect instead of a negative aspect.
Good way.
Any other thoughts?
Oh, it was very good. I think it was kind of, my idea of it is like, let's do something rather than nothing. So and I really appreciate that, you took it upon yourself to do it, and I thought it had a lot of really good elements to it. But it'll be interesting to see kind of what the details, definitions of some of the things will be. So, no, I'm very excited about it.
Were you gonna say something?
Well, I guess I'll sort of echo Ralph's sentiment about the positivity of it. And again, this is the point all along, trying to make our town better in any way that we can, and a way that we can all like and be proud of. And again, we've just been trying to get to a point where all the things that we want to see are on a list.
Here we are.
Here we are. So whatever direction this goes in, it's a good thing.
So I would make a motion to just take this, I wouldn't call it a draft zoning bylaw, but take this framework and send it to the planning board. And let them hash it out and get back to us with a draft bylaw if it suits them.
I'll second that.
Motion was made and seconded.
Quick clarifying, do we need to read anything before it? Or
No.
just we?
No, because it's not actually a bylaw, it's just a framework for one.
Yeah, so essentially procedurally, we're sending just a framework to them for them to
Create.
consider and create something. If they so choose, and then come back to us with something, then the council, the first reading of whatever that bylaw might look like. Then it then gets sent back to the planning board for them to hold subsequent public hearings and so forth, as well as the council holding public hearing. So we're going through the process twice, but it's mostly to start with the framework instead of a finished product.
And I would have no problems if the planning board sees it and wants to meet either with some of us, all of us, to go through piece by piece to say, okay, well, what about this or that? That way they were working collaboratively and hopefully it gets moved along quicker.
We could also, if everyone's open to it, try to hold, maybe not all of them if they need multiple of them, but some sort of joint public hearing with the planning board as well instead of kind of starting with them and
I
then.
feel like we did that like almost this time with them, right? Didn't we meet?
We had a general
or it was-
discussion, but we never did a public hearing. Another discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Jim, thank you.
Good job, Jim.
Yeah,
Thank you, Anna.
Go to the head of the class.
we're back.
You get a gold.
But now we know you can do it, so.
Don't make me resign, Ralph.
Do that.
No, thank you for putting it together. Okay. Next, we had under new business, the discussion on banners and signs on town recreation fields. This is something we
Now I'm regretting that.
It's a big night for you.
started as an action item at our last meeting, so I don't know if you just want to resume the.
Yeah, again, I've heard from several different, of our, I guess, kind of newly established nonprofits. I don't want to say it's a newer model, but a lot of our youth sports have moved away from being directly under the rec department to a more nonprofit model. More and more of them are doing separate fundraising. I've heard from more and more of them with doing that fundraising about some form of banner signage in terms of doing that fundraising, I think for recognition of people that they are trying to do fundraising with, in recognition for donations. I know one of the youth leagues is potentially looking to go after some fundraising to help redo the fields at Birchland, the soccer field potentially. I think the 11v11 field is in some pretty tough shape, and they're looking, I think, reseed and flatten it. So just things that they're exploring at this point. So I leave it to you. And I don't know, I mean, they could be temporary signs, or signs that are just put up during events. I don't think they have to be permanent in nature or, put up permanently or, but I think they're looking for guidance at this point in time. I think they're looking to explore different options and I'm speaking for myself, Tom, and I don't want to speak for you, but I know we pay a lot in sports fees as it is. So it's not like these programs are subsidized to the tune of nothing. So I think any help that these nonprofits can get in raising funds is a benefit for the parents in town.
Yes, I had talked to a couple people, because I know either last time we talked about it or a while ago when we talked about this, maybe a year ago or more, there was the question about like the nonprofits versus like why that's split off. And the sentiment that I got out of those conversations was a lot of the parents and organizations themselves were sort of displeased with the fact that any donations that they were getting were going into the revolving fund, but at the end of the year, whatever may or may not have been spent then just gets turned back to the town's general fund and then may get spent on something completely unrelated than the original donation purpose. So I understand why you didn't want to continue down that path as heavily as they had been. In terms of actual banners, I mean, I'm sure it will be tricky to come up with something, but I'm certainly open to exploring ways that we could do it. I think the tricky part will just be how do you make it such that you can do it, even if it's temporary or something, on fields, but not so broad that you're putting any sign you want on any town property that may be unrelated in nature. But also knowing that we have to be cognizant of First Amendment protections and not being exclusive of who can and can't put a sign on their property.
And yeah, I think a lot of teams are already doing sort of temporary, which, as I understand, particularly the zoning bylaw, that's not necessarily against the rules. If it's up for while you're there and then down. So there's a lot of sort of education that needs to happen here. You know, a town can't actively fundraise. It's like against the law. So that's why there's always this 501c3 vehicle for people to do things. But I think a lot of times people don't know that. I'm like, why can't I do that? Right? But it seems like when we were kids, that was probably allowed and we were doing that. And this sort of, that other part sort of lends we were having and still continue to have these conversations about the whole rec department accounting thing, because we're too big to make it work for us from an accounting standpoint. We expend too much money that we have to get pushed into this other accounting function by Mass General Law that the money has to go back into the general fund aside from any encumbrances for the next year and then a $10,000 balance. Like that's the law. And the other one, which would allow us to pay salaries and other different things out of, that I think is more sort of economically feasible and makes the most sense, we spend too much money to fall in that bucket. So Kim has had multiple conversations at this point during the budget process with the state to find out if we can sort of slice things up, maybe have a bunch of different accounts, and then, but again, you start getting into a conversation where it feels like you're trying to get away with something, which is usually frowned upon. But the temporary thing, I don't think it's a big deal. The permanent signage is something that always gets into a zoning bylaw violation kind of conversation. And so as much as we could say, you know, it's town property, we can do what we want. I guess I've always been of the mindset that I don't want to just make everybody do this thing and then we can do whatever we want. But again, we can talk about that section used to be monitored and administered by the planning board, and now you just have to go to the building department for a sign. So in that sort of form of progression, maybe there's some way for another application to be there for a temporary sign or something for sporting events on town property or school property or whatever. I hear this a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I get the calls a lot. There's a lot of things that people want to do, want to donate their time, want to donate their services, want to donate their backhoe. It's just, a lot of it's outside of the law because of wage laws and procurement. And we would love to allow you to come and do all this work for seemingly free, except for it's just not legal. Which, it's not the only Mass General law I don't agree with. right? So, but I'm certainly willing to like have some sort of committee discussion, one-on-one, whatever conversation, something good can come out of. You know, I'll be in the room. That sounds great. Because it's a thing that people bring up a lot. I'm sure more than just you hear it a lot.
When I hear back from some of these folks, I'll
Send them my way.
try to come around.
No, yeah, again,
Maybe a suggestion is if we wanted to form some sort of ad hoc committee of like a counselor or two, of course with the town manager, and maybe there's someone from the school committee that would be interested in. Would you want to come forward?
We have the school does have a policy for signage. There are temporary signs are allowed with an application, a representation of the sign, and approval through central office. And the way we go about it, if it's something against our policy, alcohol, drugs, firearms aren't allowed on the premises. We don't allow signage for that. May there be some fight down the road, but that's how we pick the battles. Also, the signs are only allowed up for the event and then have to be taken down, and that's stipulated on the application form, how long it'll be up and who will be taking it down. So there is a process for all the school properties already in place.
I think maybe getting like most, if not all, the 501c3s together and getting maybe like a common list of, getting them to have the discussion of what common thread that they might
yeah,
agree to might be helpful too, instead of having 19 different conversations.
yeah,
True.
great.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Or us coming up with something that they're not even having consensus about.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I think some type of policy has to be created, and that way there, we have something to fall back on and say, hey, here's our town policy. I would suggest getting a copy of the school's policy. I mean, it may be something that we can actually mirror. My other concern is through the planning board and zoning requirements for signs, what's allowed, what's not allowed, because town property still falls under the zoning. And whether it's town property, residence A, there's different requirements for signs in all of them, and it may have to be adjusted with that too.
yep.
Great.
A lot of moving parts on it.
Yeah,
And as soon as you think you got it all done, someone's gonna find a way around it.
yeah, I'm interested in continuing that conversation for sure.
Me too.
Yeah,
Great. Okay, next we had action items. Of course, we'll be scheduling our first FOC meeting. We'll continue the budget presentation at our next meeting. We'll also have the quarterly financial report, and we will have the CPC projects public hearing, and we'll also have the public hearing for the right to farm bylaw. Thank you for reminding me of the name of it. So all of that will be on Tuesday, April 14th.
can I ask a quick question? For the budget information, was sort of the information that everybody got last year, and so obviously the budget, but then the munis reports with the, every department with the,
Yeah, I think the format was pretty good last year. Maybe the only thing we were missing was the detail sheets of the capital projects, like a little bit more of the explanation and the breakdown.
yeah, we were talking about changing that too, and again, that didn't happen this quickly, but the projects that were selected, putting the backup information that was submitted for the project in with them, so that you know why it was selected. Everybody can look at, even though the work's already been done for you. No, I mean, so you can see, if you need to see
Truck number 73 actually
with
is.
that, right, and what it looks like now and why it desperately needs to be replaced, that kind of thing. Yeah, we'll get those in there. And then we'll have all the munis sheets in that separate packet that you'll get. Then if you can get me emails for everybody on FOC,
Oh, sure.
I'll send them all out at the same time.
Am I missing anything? I think that's it.
Potential, if the meeting's not too large, Whip City Fiber, whether that's the first meeting in April or the second. That, we'll find out more on Thursday, but I'm guessing they'll be on an agenda in short order.
Sounds good. I'm sure we'll find a spot. Okay, next we do have an executive session. So I move to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, for the following purpose: to discuss strategy with respect to litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the town and the chair so declares, and I do, and to return to open session solely for the purpose of adjournment. Motion was made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Jim?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Marilyn's not here. Ralph?
Yes.
And John? The motion passes.